Most leaders don't have a culture problem, they have a consistency problem. And the uncomfortable truth is this: culture isn't shaped by what you invest in, it's shaped by what people experience from you day by day. In this video, I want to show you how culture is created in the smallest moments of leadership, moments most leaders underestimate, and why those moments quietly determine whether your culture grows or erodes over time. Culture isn't shaped by intensity, it's shaped by what people can rely on from you. Not how inspiring you are on a good day, but how predictable you are on an ordinary one. Leaders often think that culture lives in programs. They invest in values, programs, training days, leadership journeys. But what their people experience day to day doesn't line up. And when leaders tell me that their people are disengaged or resistant, I usually see something entirely different. They're disconnected. Culture lives in patterns. What happens after the meeting? Whether things get followed up on, whether your tone is the same when things get busy. Most leaders I work with don't really have a culture problem. They do have a consistency problem. That's where culture is actually formed. Before people experience your strategy, they experience something else. How you show up in the smallest moments, how you acknowledge them, how you greet people sets the tone before a single word of content is exchanged. A rushed hello, no eye contact, or walking past without acknowledgement sends a signal. So does a consistent human greeting. People don't need enthusiasm every day. They need recognition. The art here is consistency rather than charisma. A lot of what leaders call disengagement actually isn't apathy. It's people pulling back because they don't feel met with consistency. And one of the biggest ways this shows up is in how leaders listen. Most leaders think they listen well. What they actually do is explain. Many leaders are very good at formal listening, meetings, agendas, talking about the work. But what they mostly do is send. They explain, they clarify, they send the message. They repeat it, they rephrase it, they restate it, and sometimes, very lovingly, they barf information all over their people. I saw this again recently in a leadership conversation. One leader said, "People keep coming back to us, asking us what the plan is." After some discussion between them, they concluded, "We need to explain better." But the real opportunity wasn't more explanation. It was to stop and ask, "What's really happening for you here? What do you think this agreement we made is for? Where is this getting stuck for you?" And then, and this is the hard part, to shut up and listen. Because if you don't know where people are, you can't actually lead them to where you need them to be. This is where leadership quietly shifts from broadcasting to connecting. The art here is listening to understand, not to respond. Sending more information doesn't fix disconnection. Presence does. Leaders often hide behind structures, KPIs, slide decks with values and mission statements, policies, as if structure can do the relational work for them. But culture doesn't live in documents, it lives in interaction. Another quiet culture breaker is assumption, especially in teams that have been working together for a long time. They always do this. That's just how she is. You know how he reacts. And I often ask, have you actually checked? This time around, have you mirrored the behavior? Have you asked about the intention? Have you verified before you concluded? A lot of leaders think they know, but knowing without checking is just guessing with confidence. And assumptions don't just distort relationships, they ripple through teams and they can rip them apart. What separates intentional leaders from reactive ones is what they do in that moment of assumption. Paying attention before you interpret changes everything. Attention is noticing without immediately judging. It's staying curious just a little longer. The art here is replacing assumption with inquiry. Trust isn't built through big gestures. It's built through the small moments that no one thinks matters. How you greet people, your tone when you get real busy, whether you remember something someone shared. I spoke to a leader recently who started doing something very small. She paid attention to a birthday, to an event in a child's life, to a new pet. And every now and then, she'd send a short message. Nothing elaborate, just human. She was genuinely surprised by the response. Not because it was extraordinary, but because it was rare. She told me, the investment was minutes, but the return was long standing trust. What people respond to here isn't effort, it's availability. Availability isn't about being accessible all the time. It's how available you are when people do approach you, especially under pressure. The art here is staying emotionally available even when time is tight. What you follow up on teaches people what matters. Not what you say matters, what you return to. Follow up is either where trust is built or quietly broken down. Did we come back to it? Did we close the loop? Did it quietly disappear when things got busy? This is where people learn to believe in your credibility or not. Follow up doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be visible. The art here is showing people they weren't forgotten. Whether you intend to or not, you are already shaping culture. If you followed along in this video, you'll realize that it's not about doing more or new things. It's about becoming aware of what you're already doing. Culture is being shaped, whether you're intentional about it or not. The shift is noticing. What do people consistently experience from me? And what ripple does that create? When leaders change this, teams can change without altering a single structure. You don't need another culture initiative. You need to lead the culture you already have. Because culture doesn't live in strategy, in documents, in promises. It lives in everyday behavior. And every interaction sends a ripple. I've seen teams change without a single structural change, simply because leaders changed how consistently they showed up. If this video resonated, it's probably because you've already sensed this in your own leadership. I'm curious, which one of these behaviors do you currently see affecting your team mostly? Let me know below in the comments. Thank you again for spending time with me on this channel. And as always, keep learning, never stop growing. See you in the next one.